Hello out there, and welcome to episode 146 of the Michael vs. Jason Horrorcast, where we love to bicker, argue, and debate all things horror. And you guys are in for a very special episode. Happy New Year's. It is now 2024, and we are officially back. But for those that have been listening to our podcast for a while, or if you're new to the show, what we always like to do to kick off the year is take a look back at the previous year, which in this case it's 2023. So welcome to our end of year rankings, ratings, whatever you want to call it. As always, I'm your host Mike, and joining me, members 2 and 3, Kirk and Jason. What is going on, guys?
You know, this is perfect because if these are our rankings for 23 and 24, it goes perfect with the NBA. Michael Jordan, then Kobe Bryant.
Right over
listing
to Kobe.
It
it's
for
right.
us. It's first to second, all time. So
I didn't even think about that. Yeah,
there's no NBA player though for 2025 that we're gonna.
Yeah, Barry Bonds.
What NBA?
Yes, I know. I'm sure we can find somebody.
Yeah, I'm sure we could definitely find someone. Yeah, that was. I mean, I wish I would have thought about that back in 21 with Tim Duncan, but
is he the best 21 ever?
He is the best 21 ever.
I don't know. I'd have to do some math. But Jason,
well, you're a San Antonio person. So.
I'm not being biased because I'll tell you 23 and 24 are the best 23s and 24s ever, but 21 is the best 21 ever.
Just to bring this back, Kirk, I don't know if you keep track of this, but Jason, I know you do, and you and I always kind of go through this. What is your end of year movie total for 2023? I'll give you mine up front. I actually had a down year. I only finished, and I say only, but it's a lot, at 258 horror movies in 2023. Kirk, I'm assuming because how many did we have to watch for the podcast? Add 10.
So add
about
3.
The exact same number.
Add 3 on the Kirks.
I had some good weeks.
and then subtract for the non-horror movies that he talked about.
Kirk, I need you to keep track this year of the movies you watch so we can discuss this next year.
I didn't start till March, so I felt it was weird just to start counting from March. I watched all the movies in January and February.
Yeah.
Jay, do you have your number, Jay?
I do. I always keep it, of course. And I'm a little disappointed in myself this year. Last year I had 248 horror movies. Yeah, this year not even close. 140. So
yeah. It was just a busier year. Like I think I was like 330 last year, so I dropped about 90 as well. So you basically dropped 100. I dropped 90. It's
there's just a lot more going on this year. Moved again, lots of whole things. So it's just it was a down year, and you just run out of movies after a while. So
I remember the first time me and you talked about your podcast before I even joined was the year prior, and you're going through a list of like 300 movies. I'm like, Jesus Christ, when do you have time to do anything else?
Right.
Listen, at night, you just tend to watch, I don't have young kids. I have a little bit more time, right? So, I won't say it was a down year. I mean, it was a down year in total movies watched. I think there's only so many bad movies that I could watch. And I mean, let's face facts. You watch 330 horror movies. Most of them are bad.
About 290 of them.
So
yeah.
But
and for everybody that's listening that's an NBA fan, I just looked at a countdown. The top number 25 is Mark Price. So
hey,
all right, hey, we got a good 3-point shooter in there from Cleveland Cavaliers. Very good.
Yeah, from my old neck of the woods.
Yes,
there you go.
There. I met him many a time.
Yeah, makes too. I used to shoot around with him at the old Y up there in Richfield. So
we did, but I don't even want to discuss the year of Mark Price because we're in the year of Kobe.
The Mamba year.
The Mamba year, huh?
So for our show today, we're going to go through a bunch of different rankings. A lot of them we will give our top for the podcast and then a top for 2023. So you'll kind of, get in the vibe with it. And then to end the show, we are definitely going to be spinning the devil's wheel for the inaugural Who's Kicking Off 2024 with
this is an important one.
It is an important one,
and we'll let you know why.
We'll talk through here in just a little bit. But I mean, guys, what do you think? Let's get in some rankings.
Let's do this.
Dive in.
Let's do this.
Let's dive in.
So let's. There's a lot of highs in this year. But let's start on some lows this year. All right. So
Okay.
one category that we wanted to do this year was our bottom 5 ranked podcasts of the year. Now, you could figure out why it's the bottom 5 for whatever reason you want.
Yep.
But we're gonna do bottom 5 here. So I'll kick us off here at 5, and we'll just kind of
he's excited.
go down and
he was a little excited about this. It's making me nervous.
Listen, I'm excited about this show, but this is for new listeners to the show. They're gonna be like, all right, they're giving us 5 to not listen to, and I'm not doing that. Go listen to everything. This is just we're all
just
over the place.
Don't watch these movies, probably.
So coming in at number 5 for me, Jason, this was one of your films. It was episode 127. And you had to choose this one. It was our Christmas gauntlet here, and you chose Black Christmas. I was not.
Bad.
I like Black Christmas. This one just did not hit the spot for me. So coming in at number 5, episode 127 on Black Christmas. Kirk, I'll go to you next.
Yeah, Black Christmas was a bad movie. I won't blame Jason for it, though. I don't blame you.
Thank you.
But this next one, I blame you for. This hurts my heart to take shots at 80s movies, but this one was just a bad movie for me. It's House 3, the horror show. I just didn't like it. I didn't think it was a very good movie. And I wanted to like it really bad because I want to be on Jason's side when it comes to the 80s movies. I want to be digging the trenches with Jason against Mike.
And that was episode 144, I believe, right? Let me
double check that. I didn't put the at 144. You're correct. I didn't do the episode numbers, so I failed you there.
I did.
I'm going to be doing it while Jason tells us what his number 5 is.
Yeah. So number 5 for me, Mike, I'm picking on you here. We're going to go to episode 139 with Inbred. That to me, I mean, sorry, man. Like going back and look at all the episodes that we did. It was, believe it or not, it was tough to find a good 5 just because I think we had some really good podcasts this year overall. But Inbred to me, it went nowhere. Like I think when we talked about it, it just, it wasn't that it was boring or anything like that. It was just, it made no sense. It just it was scrambled. It was, yeah. I mean, you had a guy with a carrot.
Death scenes.
I mean, you had a guy with a carrot
though. It was violent.
Some good violence.
The guy was petting his carrot the whole time. So, but anyway, that was it. 139.
Are we doubling up? Are we
snake
snaking
it back
around?
down, Jay.
All right, Mike, I'm picking on you again.
Well, that's okay. That's okay.
I'm picking
Friendly
on you
fire.
again.
Don't worry. I got a feeling I'm coming up towards the end.
So, yes, It's a Wonderful Knife, episode 143. That was number 4 for me. That was just really bad. And I'm just going to leave it there. It was really bad. So, Kirk, what's your number 4?
I think it's redundant calling any of these movies really bad because they're in our bottom 5. That being said, Downrange was my number 4. I do agree that it was close. I think it needed some help and needed better acting and a little story design, probably more money into it. But what we got was not a good movie. It was laughably bad at times. And I know you guys liked it a lot better than I did, but I'm trying to judge the movie for what it was, not what it could be.
Gotcha.
So my number 4, Jay, you doubled up on me. I'm gonna throwing darts right back at you. But unfortunately, I can't even blame you for this one. This was a listener request, but you did put it on the wheel.
Oh yeah.
Frankenhooker comes in. It was episode 124 at number 4. What a fucking weird bad movie. I believe
the only defense of Frankenhooker is nostalgia. For whatever reason,
whatever you want to call it, it's still a bad movie.
It's trauma. Trauma bought it, so it fits the crime.
They bought it, but they didn't make it. And
but it still fits the crime. They bought it because it reminded them of it.
It's a crime. But that's my number 4. And then at number 3, I'm calling out myself, but this also is not my fault. This was a listener request. There's a theme here of listener requests. Pool Party Massacre, not a good movie. Episode 130. It had its moments, but let's face facts.
What was Frankenhooker? What episode was Frankenhooker?
124.
Yep.
Okay.
Kobe. But Pool Party Massacre, unfortunately, just a low budget B movie that could have thrown a boob or two more. They were going to do that, but that's my third. Kirk, where you got?
Several more. So okay, Jay, I'm not taking a shot at you. I am agreeing with you. Inbred, number 3, episode 139.
I was like, oh God, here it comes.
Yeah, no, I'm not taking a shot at you. I liked the gore, but everything else other than that was just kind of silliness. So 139 Inbred.
All right. So number 3 for me, Mike, this is your third in a row. But I'm agreeing with you at number 3 with Pool Party Massacre on episode 130. This movie was this is a trying piece of shit. Let's just put it that way. I mean,
not good.
It was bad. I mean, when you got a guy like stroking it in the bathroom while trying to get killed or while getting killed, that just tells you the kind of movie you're watching.
I want to change my list.
I forgot about that scene, but it still made my top 3 worst. Yes.
It just tells you what you're getting into. So that was my number 3. Number 2, I'm gonna hit myself here at the number 2 worst movie of the year. It's episode 123, Bad Taste. The name Bad Taste was exactly what it gave you. Bad taste. It was awful. It was terrible. The aliens looked horrible. The movie was terrible. It jumbled. Peter Jackson. Yeah. I don't know what the fuck you were thinking with this. It was a turd. It sucked. Jason, what were you thinking? Good Lord.
The thing is, that's considered one of the all-time classic horrors. That's up, like, there's lists that have that in like top 20 horror movies.
Because you have those cult classic vibes. It just doesn't.
I disagree with it. It's just funny. It's
Peter Jackson too, so I think that gets like a lot of hoopla there as well. Yeah. But Kurt,
I think just Mike, real quick on Bad Taste, I feel it's one of those things that if you watched it when it came, like if you watched it in the 80s. It probably has the nostalgia cult classic vibe. The fact that none of us had seen it and we watched it now, we can kind of look at it and go, it's
I don't know what that Jason guy was thinking about putting that movie on the wheel. Jeez Louise. Kirk, what's your number 2?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I kind of enjoyed watching Bad Taste. Like, it is a bad movie, but I enjoyed watching it. Like, I feel like you need to see it. It's one of those type of movies. Mm-hmm. But my number 2, we've all said it, episode 130, Pool Party Massacre. that movie was no bueno. It was silly. And the thing is, it's annoying because it had opportunities to have fun with it and be more campy, and it was kind of stuck in this weird area. So yeah, that's my number 2.
I think if they would have gone more like the route of like Slumber Party Massacre or something like that, just like kind of that nostalgia, I think it would have done so much more for this movie.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep. So my number 2 has already been said, and Jay, we'll just say you don't like my movies, I don't like your movie, whatever it might be. But House 3 was a disaster. Actually, one of the most boring movies I've ever watched. There's literally almost no on-screen deaths. There's nothing. I know you like this movie.
I do.
I hated it.
I wish I liked
episode 144. Here's the good news for you, Jay. It's only the second worst movie that we watched this year. Yeah. And Kirk.
And you sons of bitches.
I have a feeling, Mike, we're going to have the same one right here.
I mean,
ridiculous. I checked the scoring too. I called Mike. I checked the scoring and I called Mike of what we all scored it too.
Yeah, but I scored this horrendously, which coming in at number 1 for Kirk, you won something, I guess. The worst movie of the year. Galaxy of Terror, episode 115. What a shit show. And I know James Cameron, rubbed the back of somebody on the screen like that, but I don't care. It's a bad movie.
Robert Englund.
It looks bad. It's got good people in it that, were just in it for a payday. And
a big maggot rapes a girl and you see everything.
Not really.
So we should rate it high for that.
I don't want to see a maggot rape a girl. That does not. I will say
maybe I've got problems.
Let me change my score real quick.
House 3 is almost just as bad as Galaxy of Terror. I will say that. Like they are to me that, but Galaxy of Terror, I couldn't. So that is my number 1. Kirk, I'm very curious though. of what.
Yes.
You're
So I think you already know it, but I think this is all vindictive for these two taking it out on me because we've been arguing over Galaxy Terror for a while. But my number one, it's my lowest scored movie of the year. If you've been listening to all our pods, I think I gave it like a 1.5. I probably would have been the only movie I would have turned off if I didn't have to watch it. It's a Wonderful Knife, 143. It's not a good movie. There's so many movies like that I've started to watch, and I'm like, nope.
Which ironically, and this will tell you if this is your first episode ever listening to us, I actually don't dislike It's a Wonderful Knife, and it's both on these guys' bottom list. So we are all over the fucking place.
We are.
Yeah, I mean,
like
Galaxy Terror. You guys are both probably Galaxy Terror. I know Mike is already, and it's not going to be a surprise here in a couple seconds. But we all are pretty close on all the other movies. If you've been listening, like we're not far off of each other.
No, we definitely all hated it. Pool Party Massacre. Kirk and I, I hated Inbred.
Inbred.
You guys clearly hated House. That's not even close to my bottom 5. So.
You got nostalgia wrapped up in it, and I get it. I wish I would have seen that movie a long time ago. I probably have different feelings of it.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I think I just like that kind of genre, too. Just the whole, like, with the prison combat. The goofy, campy shit. But anyway, my number 1, here we go, is Galaxy of Turds, obviously, from episode 115.
There's a better name. Galaxy of Terror is excellent. It's a masterpiece.
Yeah, you know what? Like,
masterpiece of shit. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean... Let's watch, like Kirk said, he was all about watching a puppet rape a girl. So, I mean,
it's so funny. I was so excited about that movie too. I was like, they're gonna love this.
Jeez.
And I watch it like every other year. It's crazy.
And then you see what's his face, Sid Haig, throwing these like crystal
Sid Haig.
ninja stars all over the place.
I love it.
It's like, come on.
I will say, if you guys have any honorable mentions, we can just shout them out real quick. We don't need to talk about. I only had one. Jay, you actually named it already. Bad Taste at 123 was my honorable mention.
Yeah.
Nothing else really jumped out at me.
I had 3. I'll just knock them out. Mike, you said Frankenhooker. I had Frankenhooker. I had Life Force and Night School on there as well.
Bad Christmas, Black Christmas, that was in there. The Trip was kind of in there. I liked the movie. I didn't think it was much horror, but I didn't think it was bad enough to put it in there. I liked it as a movie, so it didn't even go in there.
Yeah.
But everything else this is been a pretty good year. I mean, even the stuff I liked, Friday the 13th, I like Hatchet, Shining. There's a lot of good movies we did this year.
Well, I mean, let's keep the good trend going and go to our next category.
I just said they were.
So, our next one is going to be our prop of the year. And the way we're going to do this, all right, is we're going to name, we're going to have 2 top props. All right. The prop one will be podcast only movies, and then the other will be from a 2023 movie. So,
recent movie, yep.
Jay, actually Kirk, because I started on the last one. We'll just go down this. So, what is your podcast prop of the year? And we'll go around on that.
So it came down to 2. Do you want me to talk about my almost one that I gave it to first?
Sure.
Honorable mention. So my honorable mention for cool props, I put the black hole generator from Event Horizon. I thought that just had a really cool look. It was practically made. It was spinning. They fire from Event Horizon. I thought it was really cool. But my number 1, and it's mostly because of a sound effect, and it's mostly because of the Beastie Boys, but the Resonator from Beyond. Like I still hear the Resonator kick up. And then what it actually did was dope. Like, I love that movie. I think the Resonator from Beyond was awesome.
Jay, what is your top prop on the podcast? If you want to give an honorable mention before yours of any of the podcast ones, I say go for that as well.
Yeah, so some honorable mentions. Obviously, I have the broomstick from 13 Fanboy, the blender from Despa.
No. These are what are podcasts? It's got to be a podcast movie.
Oh, the podcast one. I'm sorry. I was just doing my honorable mentions.
A podcast movie. What is
podcast honorable
best
mentions.
prop? Right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have an honorable mention. I don't have.
No,
actually, fine. No, because we did this movie before. We did podcast this movie, but it was from before.
So, what is your top prop then?
So my top prop from a podcast movie, ironically, I'm right there with Kirk. I put down the Resonator from Beyond.
Intergalactic.
And if I did have a probably a backup to it, I would probably say the wood chipper from Evil Dead Rise.
That was pretty cool.
That was
especially when somebody got thrown in.
That was a cool one. So come to me. So I have one honorable mention. The honorable mention is Sam Sucker from Trick or Treat. I think that's such a cool prop, and it's out there, and I love it. I don't remember.
It was practical too.
It was episode 137. But my top one could actually fit in both categories because it was from a 2023 movie that we did from Thanksgiving, the John Carver Mask. I think is just an excellent fucking prop. To have the
mask was something I actually liked.
It was just something that was just different from the movie, and it could be mass generated, which made sense in the movie with what they were doing. I thought it was cool.
If they turned it white, it could have looked like Colonel from
Colonel Sanders,
KFC.
It looked like Colonel Sanders. I like that. Yeah, so that is that. So with that, we'll keep the prop going. And Jay, you'll kick us off here. What is your top 2023 movie prop?
My top 2023 movie prop is the big ass butcher meat cleaver from 100 Tears. The clown movie I talked about a few weeks back with that was NC-17 for the gore and the more gore. And man, that was a big ass fucking meat cleaver.
I like it. That's available on Screenbox for you to watch now. Kirk, I'm wondering, because it'll go me then you here. I'm wondering if my top 2023 prop might be the same as yours.
I don't think it is. Because I don't know if you really like this movie too much. I liked it way better than you did.
It's still where I'm going.
Oh, okay.
So, do you want me? Go. You give yours. Go ahead, and then I bet you it's the same one. It is.
So I went, okay, all right, we're on the same page. So a lot of people are listening to this as one of the top movies, not just horror movies of the year. And it's from the movie Talk to Me. And it was the hand from Talk to Me. It was an embalmed hand of a psychic that you grabbed a hold of and had to say, talk to me. And it brought you to this death world or whatever, the other side. And I just thought that was really cool, and it looked really cool, and it kind of pushed the plot forward, and it's an inanimate object, so I loved it.
Yep, and that is my top prop of the year too. I mean, wow. I didn't dislike this movie. It was hard
not to pick
I actually like this movie. I just didn't like it to the level that you liked it, and honestly to the level that almost everybody in the world likes it. So like that, I understand that, but it's still the whole movie, which was a really good movie, is built around this prop. Like, how is it not a top prop of the year? So yeah, I put the Talk to Me hand. That is it.
Wow, that surprised me. You were like, I think we're going to the same place. I was like, no, we're not in the same place. I had a feeling
you were going to, and then when you started saying your next comment, I'm like, yep, we are on the same page.
Well, thank you for talking to us. What's next?
yeah, talk to me. Go see the movie. I think it's excellent.
Yeah, it's a good movie. I'm sure it'll come up somewhere down the road here
in a minute.
All right, so for our next category, guys, let's talk villains here, and let's go to our best villain of the year. And once again, we're going to do the exact same thing. So podcast and 2023 film. So
ready.
On this one, I think Jay, right?
Yes, it is.
It's you on this. So for the podcast movie that we did, what is your best villain of the year?
And if you have an honorable mention, let us know.
I do have an honorable mention for top villain. I have in here Jack Torrance from The Shining.
Oh,
yeah. So I have him in as an honorable mention here. But I got to go with this one because they were the bomb. They're the bomb in all the movies that they've done. But the Deadites from Evil Dead Rise, boom, they were the podcast villain of the year. Gotta love them. Nice. Mike, I think this comes back to you. No, it's Kirk.
Yeah.
Is it me?
Yes, it's Kirk.
This would be you.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So going back to prop when Mike said, so this is my almost. This isn't my number one. But when Mike said the sucker from Trick or Treat, I thought that was cool. But I put him as my almost villain. Like, that was my honorable mention. Probably came in second place for villains. But my number one, this was the easiest category we had in podcast. The GOAT, the best looking version of this character that there is over 13 movies. It's Michael Myers in Halloween Kills. I know it feels like a cop out because I'm saying Michael Myers, but when it's the best version of that character, I have to say it's him.
Listen, I don't hate you for it. When I was looking at the podcast, like here's villains that we had this year. We had Leatherface. We had Michael Myers. We had the Deadites. We had
Jack Torrance.
We had Jack Torrance. We had Sam from Trick or Treat. Like, I mean, this was
Thanksgiving.
Like a who's
Beetlejuice.
Who. Beetlejuice, yes.
Jason Voorhees.
Jason Voorhees.
Wishmaster.
I mean, you name it, we had it.
Freddy. We had Freddy.
The Blob.
Yeah. We had Yogurt. So we had all these villains this year. But
when Michael Myers is my favorite character, and this is my favorite version of that character, I couldn't not.
Listen, I don't hate you for it. I put him down as an honorable mention because it was a cop out. I had it between two, and Jason took one, which was the Deadites. But there's one that I'm just gonna go with over it, and it was John Carver. I'm going back to a Thanksgiving theme here, and the reason being is this: we already know there's another movie coming out. Like, I think this is going to spawn a couple sequels, and we're getting introduced to a brand new kind of, I don't want to say icon just yet, but it's going to be a new horror.
He watches Grey's Anatomy.
It's a new horror villain. Yeah, Patrick Dempsey, he's so dreamy. No, like it's. I just think there's something when we invent a new villain that has sustainability. But
we'll see.
It was Deadites up until I really just went in and thought about it. Deadites would have been my.
But we're gonna get more Deadites too. So
yeah. Oh yeah, they definitely
getting a lot more Deadites.
Thanksgiving, and I liked John Carver. There were things I liked through the movie, and it's a great base for sequels. I hope they keep that going because I think it can be a good franchise.
They just need to keep it real. Like, I hope they don't go and do like what they did with like, what's that one movie, Mike, we watched on Netflix that the first movie was great and the second movie was a total.
Like
Nobody Sleeps in the Woods.
Nobody Sleeps in the Woods Tonight. I hope it's not something like that where they just completely like take the whole premise of the first one, turn it into like Galaxy of Turd shit.
Eli Roth on it.
Yep, that.
Keep it on. Make it Eli Roth's thing. Keep it.
Well, yeah, I would assume. I would assume he's on for the next one at least. So we'll see what happens. Yeah. But that also leads us into 2023 and what is the best villain? And I will kick this one off on this one. So. Once again, we just named a bunch of 2023 villains and Deadites and John. There's a bunch in there, but I'm going a little out of the box on this one. But a movie that we all loved that came out in October. And once again, when you can create a villain that's just cool and new and unique, and I chose Sawtooth Jack from Dark Harvest as my villain of the year. I thought it's a super cool movie. He's violent when he's in the and he looks good. And once again, I'm all for give me something a little bit different and original. So for 2023 films, Dark Harvest, Sawtooth Jack, give me that.
Check. So I think it's up to me now. So I have an honorable mention on this. And I didn't Google prior to, so I'm glad Michael went first because my honorable mention, I put Pumpkin Kid thing from Dark Harvest, Sawtooth Jack. I agree with everything Mike says. I thought he was great. For the longest time when I first filled out this document, he was my number one. But we went to a movie not too long ago, which I think bested him. And it's an old movie. It's got something like 57 sequels or something like that. But Godzilla and Godzilla -1 was dope as shit.
That was it was a great movie. It was a really good movie.
It was a really good movie. And Godzilla in it.
Better than I expected.
He is a force of nature in that movie.
And he's violent. He's not like Happy Godzilla. He's
not happy.
When is there a Happy Godzilla?
There's several Happy Godzilla.
I don't remember a Happy Godzilla. That fucker's tearing everything up.
There are hero Godzillas. How about we'll say it that way? He is more of a hero. He is a weapon of mass destruction that comes in and you know what you're going to get. And I just thought that movie was really fun. It was really well done. And I found out it was only made for like less than $15 million, which blew my mind from what I saw in that series.
Is it streaming yet?
No,
it's still in the theater.
Okay.
It's making tons of money.
So you guys went inside the theater?
Yeah.
I need to go see it. I want to see it. I'm going to wait for it to stream though.
You could have came with us. It'd just been a long drive.
Yeah, I could have.
I would have taken a plane, but
yeah,
16
I probably would have
hours.
flown.
Yeah, maybe for Godzilla.
I would have flown. I would have flown for Godzilla. All right, so I will tell you this. I have a couple of honorable mentions, but I will tell you this. My top 2023 character is one of what you two said. So I'm going to be
see Godzilla. So
not Godzilla. No.
Oh well, yeah. You didn't
I say you didn't see one of them. So that's,
Well, no, you made a mention of Michael Myers earlier. So, but Michael Myers was an honorable mention. I wanted to go with something a little different here. So I actually wrote down Sawtooth Jax from Dark Harvest. I you know what? That movie absolutely blew my mind. It was probably, which we'll talk about pretty soon. It's one of my favorites this year. I'm not going to lie. And I've said that.
They got to come up with a sequel.
They have to. And I thought the character was really good. Scary. I liked how they used Sawtooth Jack's character. So yeah, that was my top one. As for honorable mentions, I did write down Michael Myers. I love The Woman from the Offspring movies.
So out of podcast 2023 movies, Michael Myers. So you liked Halloween Ends?
No, I watched Halloween 2. I watched Halloween.
That's not 20. Oh, this is 2023.
Oh, it has to be a movie from 2023?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, well, shit. I'm glad I put Sawtooth Jack down then.
you did it right. That
It's okay. I
Got the
think we're on the
assignment
same
correct.
page. Sawtooth Jack is a cool.
such.
I was never good in school, so it's all good.
I'll tell you this: he was my number one until we went and saw it the other day, and I just kept thinking about it. I was like, man, that was really freaking cool.
But did we see Halloween? Oh yeah, Halloween Ends did come out this year, right? No, Halloween Ends came out in 2022.
That came out last year.
Oh, you're right. So
So
there was no Halloween last year.
Yeah, so your 2023's was what?
No, that was
yours
my-
is
that was
Godzilla.
his- That was his podcast.
Godzilla.
Oh,
Yeah,
podcast.
My inside
Okay.
the podcast was Halloween Kills.
Okay.
He kills this year.
There we
Yep.
go. You're right.
Yep, because we reviewed it episode.
You're right. No, you're right. You're right. I was trying to remember. I'm like, wait a minute. Did that come out this year? And I'm thinking the 2023
No.
theme, but no.
Kills came out 21.
Right.
So that'll take us. We've already done when we did one of our we did our top 5 worst podcasts, right? But what about our top 5 best podcasts? That's going to be our next category here of podcasts only. What were our top 5 podcasts of the year? So we'll kind of, once again, this won't be a podcast in 2023. This is top 5. So Jay, I'm going to start with you on this one. What is your number 5
Top 5 podcast.
podcasted film?
Okay.
I didn't
So
put the numbers on this one. either.
episode 114, The Shining. That fell into number 5 for me. I'll tell you what, I was really, at first, Kirk, when you put this movie on the wheel, I was just kind of like kicking it in my head, like, oh my God, this is one of those ones I was hoping we could bypass for a long time. Haven't seen this movie in probably like 25, 30 years. I'll tell you right now, I fucking loved it. I enjoyed it. It's definitely one I'm going to come back to again here in 2024 at some point and watch again. I might even do what you do. You say you watch it during the Halloween season. It might be something I might want to come back to during that time because I think that comes in. The music in that movie sets the mood like right off the rip. And then the Overlook Hotel is just like so, awesome with everything that it does. It's a classic. So,
I got to say, I like the movie way more this time that we podcasted it and dissected it, and I it's a good one. It's a long one, but it's a good one.
It's worth every minute though. So Kirk, what's your number 5?
Yep. Yeah. So my number 5. I'd seen this movie in the past a long time ago, and I enjoyed it. But as an adult, we rewatched it, we podcasted it, and I got a whole nother appreciation for it. I really, really liked it. But it was episode 118, and that's Prince of Darkness. I just thought that movie was way better than I remembered, and I really, really enjoyed it. And I think it's something I need to rewatch every other Halloween or spooky season or something like that. Like revisit it more often because I hadn't seen that movie in a long time.
Yeah,
and it's John Carpenter. You can't go wrong. The score is amazing.
Yeah, and they just put it back on Screenbox too,
I'm gonna
or
watch
Shudder.
it.
It was one of the two. Shudder. They put on
Whatever.
Shudder.
These are very telling about all our personalities. I'm just going to say this. So My number 5 was a movie that I revisited this year. I put it on the wheel. It's one of my movies. I just hear Jason going, of course. Yeah.
Big surprise.
So Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022, episode 129. I really enjoy this movie, but I enjoyed it the second time around. I just like, I know there's problems with the movie. I don't even care about that. I like that they did something different, did something new, made it terrifying, and just brought Leatherface back. So that comes in at number 5 for me. Like I said, episode 129. And then this is just will make me sound bad, but one of my other movies comes in at number 4. One of my favorite ones that we did this year was Trick or Treat. I've wanted to have this on the wheel for years. It finally won
Trick or Treat. Who picked Trick or Treat?
I did.
Okay.
That's why I'm like, it's just going to sound bad because so far the top 2. But Trick or Treat, episode 137, it won during Halloween, which I think just made the podcast
Timing
just
perfect.
It's perfect. I've wanted it to win for a long time, and to be honest with you, I think it's probably the best anthology. So, it's just the way it intertwines. Great podcast. Yep. I had a lot of fun doing that with you guys. So that comes in at 4. Kirk, where are you?
Yeah. Before I go into number 4, I just want to say Prince of Darkness, I think, was Jason. Right. Yeah. So I'm choosing other people's movies other than myself.
I can't promise that.
I am too.
Number four is it's Mike's movie, and it's also Trick or Treat, number 137. So I am 100% on board with you. Everything you listed was perfect, and the timing of that it couldn't have been any better. And I won't say if it's my best anthology. It might be my best anthology, but I don't want to ruin that for a countdown in the future. Probably is my best anthology.
Yeah,
we got Jay.
Yeah, so ironically, I guess it's 3s because 137 here for me. Trick or Treat was number 4.
4.
So
that's so fun.
Yeah, that's why I was shaking my head, Mike. Not because you said I'm picking another one of my movies. It's just because we have the same movie again on there. But yeah, I mean, you're going to notice a theme here when we go through my top 5 here of not picking my movies. So number 4 was Mike with Trick or Treat, episode 139 or 137, and then we're going to come back with Kirk at number 3, Kirk movie. You can't go wrong with Halloween Kills, episode 132. Michael Myers, that's my true love right there. So you just got to kind of it has to be. When you do a Michael Myers movie, it's got to be a top 5. So Halloween Kills right there.
Halloween Kills, every time we watch it, it gets a little bit better.
Oh, every time.
Yep.
And
you can start ignoring the stupid shit.
Even though evil dies tonight, it's still,
you can ignore that for a little bit.
Yeah, you can.
All right, so number 3 is a me movie, so I do start pulling a mic here for a little bit, but. All right, so don't hate me on this one. This is one of my all-time favorite movies. It is not Galaxy of Terror. Do not shake your head at me.
I thought we were going to end the podcast early tonight.
Yeah, we were.
So I revisited that. I rated that a 5, a very average movie, just so we know. Anyways, number 3 for me. I love this movie anyways. You guys, I know, hated it. It was Life Force, number 126. I love that movie.
I didn't hate it.
And I rewatch it. I rewatch it over and over and over again.
It's a good sci-fi movie.
Yeah, it's a great sci-fi horror movie. Yep.
Sci-fi.
Well,
I mean, it's about vampires.
It's not a good movie, but spoiler alert here: it's not in my bottom 5, right? And it's not in my top 5. It's just in the middle.
It was in my honorable mention, bottom 5.
I guess. Well. Anyways, coming in at number 3 for me is a 2023 movie. We all went to the theater. We watched it. Evil Dead Rise comes in at number 3. What a fucking badass movie this was. The same thing I said about Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I feel the exact same way about Evil Dead Rise, maybe even to a higher extreme. This delivered everything that I wanted and more. I find very few things that I dislike about it. I know others do, but this was fantastic. Also, episode 117, by the way. So, and that was nobody's movie. We all chose that together, so we all win on that one. So that was my 3. And I got to do the next one. So coming in at number 2, Jay, you just said it. Halloween Kills is my number 2 movie on the year. Kirk, you put it so eloquently, but it is the best look of Michael Myers. He's violent. He's awesome. Evil does not die that night. Maybe it does. I have no idea really, but
I mean, technically it did.
I mean, if you watch Halloween Ends, I think it did die that night. But I love Halloween Kills. What a great movie. So that comes in at number 2 for me. Kirk.
Okay, so I'm going to do something a little bit different. So I picked episode 133, Halloween Kills. I know we haven't gone over this one yet. No. Number 2. I'm kidding. I picked Halloween Kills.
No,
as
it's
my
episode
number 2
132.
I have 133.
132?
I had 132.
133.
Yeah.
And I'm going to verify it. It is 133.
Yeah.
So it is 133. It is Halloween Kills. I'll tell you this, the first time I watched that movie, I would not put it in my top 5. The second, you start ignoring the stupid shit in the movie, and then Michael Myers really shines in that movie.
Yeah, he's
so
awesome.
it's my number 2.
All
Jay,
right.
what is
So my number 2 and my number 1. So since I'm doing both, Mike, you're going to be proud of me here. They're both a 2023 movie. So
Wow.
yeah. So number 2 for me just came recently, episode 142 with Thanksgiving. I fucking loved it. I mean, Eli Roth, thank you for coming back to life and bringing something so enjoyable. I'm very looking forward to the sequels and seeing what else we get from, the Henry Carver killer and so on and so forth. Maybe they'll bring, since this was Patrick Dempsey in this one, maybe they'll bring back John, what's that dude's name from the 80s and all the, what's the dude from all the 80s movies that was like in like Better Off Dead and holding up the stereo and like
his sister's in Hollywood too. I can't think.
I can't think of his name right off the top of my head right now. It's John something, but maybe they'll bring him back to be the killer in the next one just because they're going 80s themes. Who knows? But moving on, number 1, Mike, you said this.
John Cusack.
Thank you. Moving on, number 1, Mike, you said this one already, but Evil Dead Rise was hands down by far my favorite movie of 2023 that we podcasted. Kirk, what's your number 1?
Yeah, so if I'm doing an honorable mention, I would do Evil Dead Rise. I thought it was slightly above average. I listed it a little further down with these guys, but my number 1, it's one of the few, I don't have many 10 out of 10 movies, and Jason already said it, it's The Shining. Is one of my all-time horror movies ever. I put it in there for a reason because I love it, and I was new to the podcast, so it's episode 114. It was amazing. Mikey.
So my number 1 was episode 111, which was the very first one that Kirk joined. So I put that as my number 1 podcast because it was a turning of the page. It was the stuff. And it wasn't because it was the greatest movie. It's because it started where we are in the podcast now of a change. And like I said, this wasn't just what is the best movies that we did of the year. For me, this was more of like, hey, we got a new 3 and we started making some different changes. So 111 is kind of like that, that new era. And so I put that as our my number 1 podcast of the year because it kept us going.
I like that too.
And it's a pretty good movie.
Yeah. And you know what's funny is in my honorable mentions, the reason why when you said episode 111, I was able to say The Stuff right away is because in my honorable mentions, that is number 6. I had The Stuff.
Yep.
And then I also had From Beyond, Friday the 13th, Part 4. And since we have the stuff in there, you got to have The Blob.
Yeah, same movie. Yeah, The Stuff is also a really fun movie to watch if you don't take it seriously.
Chocolate Chip Charlie, baby.
No, it's not a great movie, but it's one that needs remade. And my honorable mentions, ironically, 114 The Shining and 142 Thanksgiving. Like those are 2 that
I'm surprised you didn't have Thanksgiving in your top 5 because of your love for the Henry Carver killer.
The John first is John, right?
Whatever his name
I think
is.
it's John Carver.
Henry's his brother, you know.
Hey, there's a sequel coming out, and it's gonna be Henry.
Maybe it will. Good old Hank Carver.
Played by John Cusack.
Would that be the funniest? By John Cusack.
I think it needs to be Judge Reinhold. If we're gonna go 80s,
go.
let's just go. New Beverly Hills Cop.
It's crazy. We had some similar on this list too. Halloween Kills, Trick or Treat, The Shining. We all were kind of in the same world. I just missed my Evil Dead Rise. I put it just outside, but we're all in the same world. It's pretty interesting to see. We agree a lot more than we think we do.
Well,
Yeah,
I think especially when it's podcasts, we know when a movie's bad and we know when a movie's good. It's just the ones that are in the middle is where we're all over the place on. So, Galaxy of Terror still sucks. So, all right. So
I didn't put it in my top 5. I gave it a 5 out of 10.
I do appreciate that. I still thought for nostalgia you were going to go, but like mentally. All right, but listen, let's move on to our next category, which is always a fun one here, and we're going to go back to top podcast and top movie from 2023, which Jason means it came out in 2023. And we're going to go to best kill of the year.
Best kill. Okay. All right.
Kirk,
I'm with it.
we're going to start podcast on the podcast
In
side.
podcast. Okay.
What is your best
All
kill?
right. So I have an honorable mention I want to dive into first. So my honorable mention goes to my boy Jonah. If we remember Jonah, we talked about Jonah often. If you remember the movie, I don't remember the episode. I can look it up real quick, but it's from the Green Inferno. The old boy there that was after the girl that got chopped and eaten, and that kill was kind of led that movie.
It was
132 was the pod. That was almost the best part of that entire movie. Episode 132, Jonah getting chopped up was just a really good kill. But my number one kill from podcast comes from Prince of Darkness, and it's Frank Wyndham when the bugs start pouring out of him, and he's got that weird voice, and he just disintegrates apart. I've rewatched that several times. I just love that death scene. It's not as gory because you don't see blood gushing or anything like that, like Jonah's. But God, is that a good part of a movie?
Jay,
All right.
we'll come to you next here.
Yeah, so best kill podcast that we did this year. I gotta go to Texas Chainsaw 2022 with the bus scene. I mean, it's
So which one? There's like 40.
No, it's literally the bus scene.
it's literally
No,
the bus scene.
I feel like that's a cop out. You got like 20 people in there.
No, it is.
No.
It is.
I'm
It's
just
amazing.
teasing you.
Yeah, it basically takes Leatherface and puts him back in his like original, like evil, sadistic killing machine. And I thought that scene was both times that I watched that movie, my jaw hit the floor with that scene. So
So I got to tell you, Jay, you and I, when it comes to villain kills, we're really aligned here. Bus scene's my honorable mention, and it was my top one. And then I was like going through and if I remember right, I think it was last year. It was our kill of the year. You and I both had as kill of the year. It's such a unbelievably shot, executed. The colors, everything in that scene is fantastic. I will also say there's a slash here. On the Halloween Kills, the firefighter scene is one of the greatest fucking kill scenes as well. But I am staying in that movie, my podcast kill of the year. I think he was already dead, but Michael Myers at the table just taking the knife and stabbing over and over. It is maybe my favorite Michael Myers scene just in general of any of the Halloweens. And it's just because it just shows that he doesn't have a soul. Like he's just stabbing over and over. The person's dead.
He's figuring out which knife he wants.
It was the same knife over and over. It was
no, it was several different. He was figuring out which knife he wanted.
I mean, I think it's so fantastic. And even the scene before it where he stabs the woman if she didn't survive somehow, like that could have been it. But
what made that kill even better is it was right off of the firefighter scene. So you just saw that firefighter melee and it's like, fuck, that was awesome. And it goes straight into that married older couple, and he's just like, it's just like what your mind has. You're like, that's so fucking Michael Myers.
Yes,
it was cool. It was a dope scene.
I wasn't like, that's so Michael Myers. Oh my god! But like, it was amazing. But yeah, we had some really good podcast kills this year, so this was good. So now let's turn our attention to 2023 movies and kill of the year. Kirk, will come over to you to start us off.
Yeah, so I had a couple, and I was going to list them off, but I feel like this one topped them all for me. And it's kind of two kills. I didn't know we were grouping them together, but two kills in one. But it's the pregnant lady from When Evil Lurks, when she just hauls off and smacks dude in the side of the face with that hatchet, and then turns it on herself, kneels over, and starts whacking herself in the face with a hatchet.
Yeah.
I don't gasp at horror movies anymore. I am so numb to this. And that movie got me probably 3 to 4 times where I'm like, oh shit. Like, you know what I mean? And I think this is the first big one out of that movie. And it's a pregnant woman. So it's just, it's hard.
It's brutal.
It's a hard watch too. It's brutal. They went there several times in that movie.
Yeah.
So,
Mike,
I'll come to me next here on this one, and Jay, we'll let you take us home on it. Okay. But for me, so I have a couple honorable mentions here. One is from When Evil Lurks as well, but it's not that scene. It is the woman walking down the street eating the kids out of the kid's skull, like eating the brain.
Like gummy bears.
The only reason it is not my top is because technically the kid's already dead as she's eating them, and I couldn't justify that. But holy shit, that movie's awesome, and the deaths in that scene or in that movie are amazing. Also, Dark Harvest, which we've already talked about a lot. There's a scene where Sawtooth Jack slices somebody through the skull, and it was fucking fantastic.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah.
But believe it or not, now this movie came out at the beginning of 2023. It's loosely horror, but Cocaine Bear. The ambulance scene where the person falls out and their face skids across the ground and you watch it just mash into meatloaf across the ground. I just thought was so surprising to me from that movie. So over the top and so gnarly. Like, I remember rewinding that a bunch to be like, wow, because it looks so good. That comes in
I'm worried
as
that you rewound that. That gives me worried that you rewound it.
Yep. So. Kirk, do you want to come over and ride in the back seat and tuck and roll? No, it was just it's such an amazing scene for me. So
sounds kind of weird.
Yeah.
Jay, what do you got?
What you got, Jay?
So I had an honorable mention. First, the lady that gets her face cut in half in the barn too. I thought that was like really legit. But Mike,
same scene.
Yeah, Cocaine Bear is the winner for me. I had the ambulance. I had ambulance moron or the park ranger moron in the ambulance. That
such a great scene.
Has his face completely mauled through the while being dragged behind the ambulance.
The whole movie is just a
great fun movie. But that was definitely my 2023 best kill.
Yeah.
All right. Well, these are some fantastic kills. If you haven't seen any of those movies, watch them at least for the kill scene. We maybe one of these years we'll start giving you the exact time frame so you can literally go right to it and watch it. Or maybe we'll put it on our one of our sites here YouTube. Down the road for our top kills. We can put on our YouTube channel. So stay tuned for that. But we're kind of coming towards the end here. Only a couple categories left. And this one is more of just... Before we get into our top movies of 2023, are there some sleeper movies that are out there? And I guess let's just kind of just go around and each give one at a time a sleeper movie, and we'll just keep going around until we're out of sleepers. But is there a sleeper movie that you watched this year that was just caught you by surprise, that maybe somebody doesn't know about, that you feel that they should watch? Jay, I'll kind of start with you here. Give us one of your sleeper movies.
My top sleeper movie of the year, hands down, was Dark Harvest from this year. It was, like I said, I found this first. I watched it, told you guys you have to check this out. Glad I did. I actually paid for this one. It was worth every fucking penny.
My number one sleeper of the year, it's on Screenbox. It's called Project Wolf Hunting. This movie, it's over 2 hours long. It's weird in so many different levels, but man, it's like two different stories, and it just gets more and more violent as you go. And honestly, it might make the wheel in the upcoming year, because I think it's something I love to review with you guys. But Project Wolf Hunting, nice sleeper movie that's out there.
So yeah, my top sleeper, and I think we all watch this too, is The Sacrifice Game. I just thought that was very clever. It ended interesting. It took some turns I didn't see coming, and I was kind of drawn in the whole movie. It wasn't the greatest made up movie and best acting and all that. That's why I call it more of a sleeper than top movie. But I really enjoyed watching that movie and where it was leading, and the ramifications of the final scene of that movie, like what it actually meant. And I just thought it was interesting. I think you could make another sequel to that because I'm sure there's other demons, or I don't want to spoil it too much, but I thought it was a good movie. You know what I mean? I really enjoyed watching it.
Yeah, not bad. Yep. Jay, we'll come back to you. Any other sleeper movies?
Yeah, I had just a couple more written down here. Number 2 I had was The Woman. So this was part of that 3.
Was that from 2023?
No. There's 3 of these. There's the Offspring was the first one. The Woman was the second one. I think it was like 2016. And then the third one was Darling, which Darling is now on. It's either Screenbox or Shudder. Which is the third of the series, but it's a good movie. It's I watched Offspring was the first one. I was like, oh, this is really good, and then I happened to see that there was more movies with this woman in it, and I'm like, well, shit, I gotta check it out. And it's literally a trilogy, so it's really good. What about you, Mike?
I have Sick, which came out at the beginning of the year. It was, I think it's Peacock movie. Maybe it's Paramount, but yeah, Peacock. But Sick is it's basically a COVID movie with it's a COVID slasher. Caught me by surprise. It's pretty good. It's pretty well done. And it was entertaining. And it's like 80 some minutes, I want to say, or maybe it's in the 90s. So but it's an easy watch, and I really enjoyed it. Cool. Definitely check it out.
So another one I put in here, and it's kind of weird to call this a sleeper because this isn't the first one or second one or third one, but VHS 85. Like, I think they kind of went back to some things, and I think they made a pretty good entry. I don't think 94 was that great. I couldn't keep my interest, but 85 I really kind of enjoyed. But if you like anthology movies, check out VHS 1985.
Yep. Yeah.
All right, Jay, anything you have left, just give us all the ones that you have left.
Yeah, I just have 2 written down. Crabs, just because it was a lot of fun, and it was
fun. Crabs.
Shh, don't tell everybody that. And Death Spa. Mike, what about you?
Death Spa because I didn't see it. Sorry About the Demon. It's a horror comedy, and it was actually great. I really enjoyed this movie. Not enough to make one of my top of the year, but it's up there. And Jay, you mentioned earlier, The Barn 2 kind of caught me off guard a little bit. I enjoyed it. The Barn 1's a little campy. Barn 2 is very campy, but it was enjoyable. I liked it. So those are mine. Kirk, anything else for you?
Yeah, one last one I have written down here, and I didn't much like the movie, but I think the premise, and I think you can build off of it. And you guys really like this movie. You guys had me watch it. It was totally killer. Like, I think there's some definite slasher building you can do off of that, and the time machine and all that, so you can always go back and just rewrite history. So I think you can build off of that. It's not a bad campy slasher type movie.
I like it. Which now that we heard of some sleeper movies, we're going into the creme de la creme, the top 2023. The movie had to have come out in 2023 movie, so top 5 of the year. Kirk, why don't you kick us off on this one here? What is coming in at number 5 for you?
Number 5, Mike, you saw this movie, told me to watch it. I watched it. You liked 20 minutes of it. I liked the movie as a whole. The Puppet Man, the deaths were just really cool in this movie. The concept is really cool in this movie. There's some work to be done, but I enjoyed it fully. And the scene looking the book when it's burning.
Yeah,
fuck, man, that's a good death. That could be one of the top deaths.
The problem with that movie is 10 minutes of the movie is amazing, and then
but you can build off it. And I enjoyed it. Like, it was a lot of build up, and you're right, that 10 minutes really carried it. But I enjoyed it.
Jay, we'll come to you next.
Okay, number 5 for me. This came out at the very beginning of the year. Something we've been anticipating. Well, Mike and I were at least anticipating, because Kirk doesn't like the Scream movies, but I have Scream 6 down here at number 5. I was really, taken away by it. I thought it was really good. I think they did a good job. I mean, obviously, all the Scream movies, you get the same shit every time. Who did it and how many of them did it. But I think this time
they looks like it's in trouble.
Yeah, but I think this time they kind of had a little fun with it, so it was fun. What do you think, Mike?
So coming in at number 5 for me, came out this Halloween. I had been waiting for it. The last two I did not feel were great, and this one was fantastic. Hell House Origins, definitely a top 5 movie for me. I love found footage and that type of like film-esque, so that automatically knocks it up a level. But this was a great, creepy movie, and it's one of those ones that you don't want to sit in the dark afterwards for a little bit. So that came in at number 5 for me. And coming in at number 4, another movie that came out during October. We've already talked about it a lot on this podcast, Dark Harvest. I loved the movie. So perfect for Halloween. And I hope we get a Dark Harvest 2 and 3 and 17. So that comes in at number 4 for me. Jay, what is your number 4?
All right, so number 4 for me came from 2023. No, I'm just kidding. But this is another one that I know, Mike, you and I were really looking forward to this movie coming out. We really enjoyed this movie. We podcasted the original movie way at the beginning of our podcast, Becky. So Wrath of Becky came out this year. Was very excited for it. Was not disappointed. I really hope they do some more with the Becky series. So
I mean, they got to have at least one more. Like, they set it up for a trilogy.
Oh, big time. Kurt?
Yeah, so my number 4, I'm on the 4, right?
Yes, sir.
I think we did this in the wrong order.
Did I do it in the wrong order? I did it in the wrong order.
It's all good. We'll figure it out. So my number 4 was Talk to Me. I was surprised going into this movie because I had zero expectations. I had a inkling of what it was about, but I went in and just watched it. And it really kind of blew me away. I loved every bit of this movie. I think it's A24 too, and I dig A24. So it was a good movie. Am I wrapping around?
Might as well, I guess, because
Yes.
I've lost all control.
Yeah, we're off the rails now. So movie's been said before, but Dark Harvest, number 3 for me. I can't say anything more. It's a great seasonable movie, great plot, great concept, great villain. It's just cool. It's a fun watch, and they set it up in the 60s, so you can go back in time because they talk about the past, or you can go forward in time because this ain't ended.
Yeah, no. Hey, I'm gonna piggyback from what you guys. Dark Harvest is my number 3 from 2023, but but no, I mean, there's nothing much more to say about it. I had it in a few other categories, and you guys have alluded to it. So, Mike, what's your number 3?
Movie.
My number 3 is VHS 85. I loved VHS 85. Once again, found footage, all that. But I found this extremely enjoyable. I was not a fan of 94. So this one, I won't even say I wasn't a fan. It was good. I wasn't as big of a fan, but I really enjoyed VHS 85. So
that's why I hit it as a sleeper, because I didn't really like 94 either, and I liked 85.
Yeah.
So I felt like people are probably going to sleep on it,
yeah,
thinking it's worth
or
it would've been
or
sleeper
be like
if it
me and
wasn't in
fall
my-
asleep to it.
Well, but that's each his own. You know what I mean? So, but my number 2 movie, once again, we've talked a lot about today. Evil Dead Rise delivered exactly what I wanted it to. What a great fucking movie. I can't wait to rewatch this one, but I'm giving it just a little bit of space. But at number 2, Evil Dead.
All right, so you put Evil Dead Rise in your 2023 and on your End podcast. So I thought it could only be in the End podcast, so I took it out of my 2023 because it was my number 5.
It is the top movies of 2023.
Yeah, I guess you're right. So I had Evil Dead Rise as my number 5, but I was like, we podcast that, so I pushed it out.
Yeah, I guess we should have been a little bit more clear on.
Maybe we should have talked about this prior.
Maybe we should have done something about this. We'll fix that for next year. But yeah, Evil Dead Rise is great too.
Well, next year it won't work anyway because it'll be 2024 movies.
That's fair. That is very fair.
Mambo.
There you go.
Unless we go back and watch 23 movies again, I know Mike won't mind it.
Yeah. So number 2 for me is one that has not been said yet. I'm going to go with a little Exorcist believer here. Here's another one. It's excuse me. The original Exorcist is a hands down classic. It's one of those movies that you wish kind of just would never be touched and left alone. Obviously, we got that when we got the Exorcist 2. The Heretic was terrible. Exorcist 3 kind of made up a little bit better for it. But here we go. We fast forward many, many years later, and we actually have something that's a true sequel to this movie. And hands down, Blumhouse, however you say it, they nailed it.
Both houses.
Absolutely fucking nailed it. And I'm ready to watch it again.
I'm on record. I do not like the original Exorcist. I think it's not a good movie. I know. Throw your stones at me. But Believer,
we are.
Boo this man.
Believer was honestly, I was surprised. I enjoyed it. I understand why people of the original that love the original don't like this. I don't like the original, and I really like this one.
I liked the original and liked it. So
it should have been a sleeper for me.
It made a good haunted house as well, but I'm embarrassed. I have yet to see it. I've been trying to see it over the Christmas season, but I can't find a break.
I haven't seen Saw yet, so don't beat yourself up too bad.
I saw Saw, and it's not on any of these lists. So are we on 2? Is that what we're doing? Number 2?
Yes, sir.
2, and then wrap us around. Yep.
All right. So am I wrapping us around?
Yep.
All right. My number 2, very recent movie for me. The more I thought about it, the more I liked it. Godzilla -1. I just think that was a classic. Go back to what works in the Godzilla world and make it better. It had the classic score, which every time he's on screen, you hear the classic score, gives you goosebumps, and he's fucking shit up. It was great.
Fucking shit up.
Before you give your number 1, I know your and I number 1 at this point has to be the same thing. So Jay,
yep.
I'm curious.
Are you the same as us?
I'm curious if you're the same as us or what your number 1 is, because then if not, Kirk, you and I can talk about it at the same time. What is your number 1,
Yes.
Jay?
I could tell you it's different than yours because it's one that's been said already. But
Okay.
It's Evil Dead Rise.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Our number 1's not in your top 5.
Yeah, it's Evil Dead Rise.
Which is a great fucking movie. So it's.
So what's your guys's?
I mean, this is an easy one. Like I said, there hasn't been a movie that made me gasp since I was probably 13 years old. When Evil Lurks, Argentina movie, it just was so good. It just was so good.
Ominous, and it's violent in ways that you're even though you're expecting it, it just does it in a way that just catches you off guard. And I loved When Evil Lurks, and everybody was talking about which is even tougher. I didn't know what the movie was about, but everybody was beefing it up. And when people beef up a movie, I'm generally like, it doesn't live up to the hype. This one did.
Here's what I loved about it. They threw you in the middle of a story. You don't know what the backstory is. You don't know what people know. You don't know what's going on. You just know there's this infected guy in this room. And then you get all this world building and all this backstory with the most violent movie I think we watched all year. And it's not even a close second. Like, this movie is violent. They go there. I've said it many times on the podcast. They won't kill the kid. Oh, I gave it -1 because they don't kill the kid. They went all out, and you see a lot of it. And it's a hard watch. It is a hard watch, but it is a good movie.
I like it. So before we end this here, what are your honorable mentions that you guys have out there?
Evil Dead Rise was one of my honorable mentions. If I can throw it back up.
Go for it.
I ain't gonna lie. I had that as number 5. I'm like, oh shit, we podcasted that one, so I moved it out because I didn't want to put the same movies in there. I didn't like it as much as these guys did. I think I gave it a 6 or 6.5. I think you guys were like,
I think I did an 8 on it.
Mike and I were both an 8.
Yeah.
Yep. I liked it. There's a lot of things I liked. That was a very good movie. It was a fun watch. Anytime you get a Evil Dead, you got to be happy. So that was probably one of my honorable mentions. What do you guys have?
I'll go. I had 3 honorable mentions here. I did have Thanksgiving, Cocaine Bear, and When Evil Lurks. I did throw that in there, and then HM.
Yeah, I had a Talk to Me as an honorable mention. Saw X is actually an honorable mention for me. I like the movie. It's just if I was doing a top 10, it'd be in that 9 to 10 range. You know what I mean? Somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Cobweb, which is a movie that it's also on Hulu now. I recommend watching it. It was such a great fucking movie. And it would be a sleeper for me, but I wanted to talk about it here. It's a great movie. So
another one that would have been in my honorable mentions would have been Renfield. There's a lot I liked about the movie, a lot I didn't like. I mean, it's Nick Cage being Dracula, his ear falling. I mean, the practical effects, the gore. It just was a fun movie. Just part of the movie kind of annoyed me. Awkwafina, I don't know why they keep sticking that girl.
Oh,
movies,
she's terrible.
I don't hate her.
But the movie is.
I
hate her. I can't.
It's her
stand it.
voice.
Like every movie,
it's just her voice that annoys me.
everything about her. But that being said, look past her. Just like Halloween Kills, you got to look past some of the stupid stuff. It was a fun movie.
Well, guys, that's our 2023 ratings. I'm curious to everybody in listener land out there to jump on our Facebook horror group page. Let us know what your tops and bottoms maybe were for the year. You can let us know on Instagram or let us know on our YouTube page. So a lot of different ways to do business with us. But that's kind of our tops for 2023. But now, guys, it's officially time to look forward to 2024 and kick off the new year and take a ride on the
Devil's Wheel.
Welcome back. And for our Devil's Wheel segment, what we like to do is we each take 3 movies, we put it on a wheel, we spin it. Well, I should say there's also one extra pick that's now on there, which is the Devil's pick. And so there's 10 total slots on there. If it lands on one of our picks, that's the movie we watch. If it lands on the Devil's pick, it goes to a random generator, and we have to watch whatever the devil chooses, saying we haven't podcasted it already because for obvious reasons. But we also have a couple changes going into 2024 for the wheel. So, Kirk, I'll kind of let you kick us off and explain some of that.
Yeah, so we like to talk crap when it comes to this Devil's Wheel because we think we have, just like fantasy football, we think we influence these teams. So we want to put a little more stake in the game. So when you win a month, that means when you get the most movies chosen by the wheel, that means the next month you get an extra pick.
Yeah, an extra slot on the wheel.
Extra slot on the wheel. Now, tie goes to the devil, so we don't get it. The devil gets 2 slots. Then.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Oh boy. Then we have what we do in the half year when we're doing a shame video, and then a full year we're doing a shame video. So it's going all the way. What would we say to the end of November?
Yep. Through November, we are basically keeping track this year. We always talk about who's where we at and talking crap on all the podcasts, but now we are actually living up to it, and we're going to have a winner at the end of the year.
Put some money on it.
Just like in fantasy
chicken dinner.
We have money put on the line between all of us. The winner's going to get some money. The winner's going to get, some fun things. But the ultimate loser is also going to have some penalties. And we'll have a loser at the mid-year, and we'll have a loser for the entire year. There'll be some funny videos that have to come out. There will be some definite heckling.
There's going to be some money exchanged on this. We're all throwing some cash in it. I think there's going to be some props and prizes and T-shirts, and we're going to just develop this as we go along, just so we're not talking crap to each other in vain. We're actually influencing this.
And you know what though?
Fancy football.
The thing that bothers me the most about this is Mike was the ultimate loser last year. I wish we would have came up with that then.
Well,
Mike's always the
what are the odds that it'll happen twice this year? It's a 33% chance.
It's less than that. The devil gets his
no,
choice.
but there's 3 of us. So one of the 3 of us have to be the ultimate loser.
Yeah.
The devil, I don't think, can be the ultimate loser. But
if odds really get crazy, I guess
he could definitely be the ultimate winner.
But yes, we're taking like a fantasy football or whatever approach to it this year with heavy emphasis on winning and losing, and it's going to be fun. So without further ado, it's time to spin the wheel for the first time in 2024. Oh, that is right. I guess we should. See, I'm thrown for loops. So
you're excited.
Who won the last one? I don't even remember who won the last.
The devil won the last one. It was The Craft.
Yeah.
So
it's a good way to end the year.
Kirk, I'm just going to come to you. What are your 3 movies on the wheel?
Yeah, so when we pick movies, we have to pick a total of 3. One of them has to be a movie we haven't seen yet. That's the rule. So my movie I haven't seen yet is, I think it's 2017 or 18, somewhere. I think it might be 2020, is The Empty Man. I think that's like
I think it's
2020 or
2020.
2021.
Yeah.
Yeah. My two movies I have seen that I'm putting on there, I'm leaving The Ninth Gate from 1999, and I'm changing The Void. I'm pulling that off, and I'm putting Death Note on from 2017.
I like it. Jay?
No 80s movies.
It's 2024, new me. Who this? Yeah.
It's the year of Mamba. You know,
Well,
I guess so.
I'll say this: 2024, same me, because it's all 80s for me.
I don't mind
Yes,
that. I don't mind
yes.
that. Except now I'm less rooting for you because I don't want to have to pay.
So the movie.
And you get an extra slot if you win January. So
That is true.
there's
That is true.
skin in the game.
That is true. So the movie that I have not seen comes from 1987. It's called Street Trash. So I've been really wanting to watch this one for a long time. Killer Clowns from Outer Space, still on there from 1988. And I threw Phenomena back on from 1985. It's on Screenbox right now.
So my three, I was going to do all these changes, but honestly, I just forgot. So my three movies, the one that I've never seen is 13 Ghosts. I don't remember what year that's from, but mid
like
2000s.
96, 97.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? What the fuck I know. I thought it was
Maybe it's even.
I thought it was
in
like
the
2005.
It's in the 90s.
All right, well, it's out there. So 13 Ghosts is on there. I'm taking Strange.
2001.
Oh, shit.
2001. So that wasn't
Alright.
far.
It's close enough.
Strangers Pray at Night. We got new Strangers coming out this year. I want to get in that movie before they come out, and then just because it pisses off Jason, PG Psycho Gorman. Yes, those
Take
are
that shit off.
Those are the three. So all
I do want to see that. I haven't seen that.
now,
exactly
all
what it
that's
says.
left
PG.
to do. It's definitely not PG.
No, it's definitely not PG.
All that's left to do
Just
is
made me nervous when you said PG.
spin the
Yo,
wheel. So the wheel.
DJ, spin that wheel.
It is.
This is the
spinning,
first
guys.
step towards getting another pick.
Who is the
next
first
month.
winner of 2024?
The first wiener.
The first wiener. Looks like the wiener is Mike.
And you got to watch out Mike's thumb.
It was
Click
it
it
was
up.
this close to being a devil's pick again, but we do have a
Jeez.
official winner, and we will be doing
Killer Clowns.
a little bit of Killer Clowns from Outer Space is the movie, and this year starts a lot like last year, and Jason off the schneid, right out the gates fast. What year is
He's trying to-
Killer Clowns? from?
1988, and this just did hit Prime, so it is on
Okay.
Prime.
All right.
So this gets him one step closer to having an extra pick in February.
Yeah, how many? I don't even know how many podcasts we have this month. So if there's only
Three.
if there's three, so yeah, if he wins one of the other ones, it's over already. So it's crazy times now, and the last thing anybody in this world needs is an extra Jason pick. So
Well,
He'll get
obviously
four
the
on the
devil
wheel.
likes
He'll get four on the
my
wheel.
picks, so I'm just gonna throw that out there.
I just think he's getting them out the way fast. It's really
That is not
Killer
true,
Clowns, we've
because
seen
there
this.
was a
We've seen
time
this.
where my movie sat on there for a long time.
There was. That's yeah. Well, fair enough. Listen, Killer Clowns I haven't seen in 25 years or something. So, and they're hot again. It's all
Yeah.
over the place. So,
It's a
Yeah,
potential
yeah.
TV show coming out for him too.
yes,
I'm a little nervous on how I rank this movie because I love this movie, but I don't know how it's going to hold up to our scrutiny, as I call it.
Right.
And just so you guys know, we'll discuss it a lot more. There's a couple extra changes coming in 2024 to the podcast, and some of it is on the scoring and all that. So be prepared for next week to have some new entertainment, I should say. But we will reconvene, same bat time, same bat channel, 7 days from now to provide you with Killer Clowns from Outer Space. So fantastic. And that's it, guys. That is how we kick off 2024. I'm very excited. Episode 146 in the books. We thank everybody for rocking with us. As we mentioned earlier in the podcast, there's 3 ways to do business with us, and we want you guys to give us movies for the wheel. We want you to give us Pardon the Tear segment, questions like, is it horror? Different questions you want us to ask, different rankings you guys want us to do. There's a lot of new stuff coming this way there as well. But the 3 ways, Instagram is an easy place. MVJ Horrorcast on Instagram. We have our YouTube page that we'll be putting a lot of content up this year on. And then the easiest way that we're always chiming in on is our Facebook horror group at MVJ Horrorcast. I should know because it's been around for like a year. I don't. What is it? Horrorcast or horror? I don't know.
Horror.
Horror.
MVJ
So
Horror.
MVJ Horror. Look up MVJ Horror. There's a group, And then there's like a page. Go to the group. So that
The group's more fun.
it
A lot.
is.
A lot more.
It is. But guys, 2023 is now in the past. And with that
Peace
Michael
out.
Jordan.
and with that said, 2024 is now on the clock.